Hi guys, today we'll be making new models for our enemies. I'll share a bit of the game's lore first before we start so that we can make our new model design based on our lore. So for those of you who are new to this channel, I'm Jun, a solo indie game developer, and I'm making a game where you play as a monster. And our game is set on an island where there is an abundance of magical resources that humans, which will be our enemies in the game, are harvesting and exploiting. So one of the groups of humans that will be settling on the island are hired mercenaries who settled on the island to get contracts from the kingdom to gather these magical resources. These resources, called life essence, are used by the kingdom to fuel their magic to help progress civilization. The life essence is the life source of the island's inhabitants, and you are one of them, a wisp, a glowing ball of light who can conjure monsters and elementals to fight back the human settlers and drive them away from your island. So that's the general lore of our game. Now back to our enemy design. I want our enemies to be grouped and designed according to their purpose and motivation. We do this so that we can tie the design of our enemies to fit the lore of the island. For example, we have mercenaries whose purpose is to gather magical resources. Another group will be the kingdom guards, whose goal is to guard human settlements. We also have the civilians like the lumberjacks or the farmers and so on, who just do their living to keep the economy of the island moving. We also have explorers and scholars whose goal is to explore ancient ruins on the island, discovering its wonders, and so on. Once we have the group, we then need to design the behavior, attack patterns, and the mechanics for each member of the group in a way that helps them succeed in their corresponding motives and goals. For example, in our mercenaries enemy group, we have the shield bearer, whose main goal is to defend the team. Then, we have the light bearer, who has a torch, and its main priority is to light up the place when it's dark, allowing more visibility for the entire team. We will also be adding more types for the mercenary enemy group. For example, we need a wizard type whose main job is to gather the life essence resources from the trees. And we'll also ask as a support enemy that will cast binding spells to you that will hinder your mobility, or maybe give it a healing spell that supports his teammates. What do you think? Just comment down below if you have any ideas or suggestions. I'm very much open to hearing any thoughts from the community. After all, one of my goals is to create a game whose features are community driven. Another enemy type could be a ranged enemy, maybe an archer whose AI behavior is to find a safe distance where it can shoot arrows and give mobility debuffs, or maybe fire arrows. I don't know, what do you think? We will make these other types in later devlog since I don't have the AI behavior and animations for them yet. For now, our main focus is to make more models for the mercenary guards. Let's get started. So again, I'm not an artist, so to save time, I purchased a ready-made asset pack from the asset store. This asset will be the one we'll be using to make the basic enemies for our island. I like this asset since it's modular and you can have a lot of variety in making your models. Also, it is historical and generic in design, and I like that since I don't really have the budget to make unique armors and assets. I'd rather focus my resources on commissioning artists for the main characters, like the boss fights and NPCs. Generic asset packs will do for our basic enemies. I already have 3 models for our guards. Let's add more variety by making 5 more models. I'll explain the reasons why I need many variations of enemies in a later video where we talk about object pooling. So subscribe if you're interested to know how object pooling works in our game. So let's start by copying my finished model. Then we'll modify the prefab by parts. As you can see, there are a lot of options to choose from the head design, to the clothes, to the accessories, and more. We want our mercenary design to be a bit rugged. We don't want uniforms and formalities since this design will be reserved for the kingdom guards, who are more organized and well funded. As a mercenary guard, we want it to look tanky, so we need armors, but not too much armor to represent lack of funding. We also want the mercenary guards to be fully clothed so that they will feel a bit heavy and tanky. We'll use padded clothes for this. Also, we'll give it a shield. Maybe let's give it a new variety of shield apart from the round wooden shield we previously had. And lastly, a sword. While making this sword, I would like to inform you guys that we already have a Steam page. You can now add the game to your Steam wishlist. Wishlisting our game on Steam is a great way to support a solo indie game developer like me. The more wishlists we have, the more exposure our game gets on Steam, which can lead to more opportunities for our game to be discovered by new players. By simply adding our game to your wishlist, you are playing an important role in our development journey. Thank you so much for your support. Now, let's test this model in action. What do you think? Comment down below if you have thoughts on this design. Now, for the next guard model. Let's repeat what we did with the first model. This time, we will give it lighter armor and a different set of clothes. Maybe, let's take off its helmet and replace it with a cap. Then, add the sword and shield. Now, let's test it. Looks good. If you like this type of devlog, feel free to hit the like button. This will give me a hint on how this type of video is doing, and maybe I'll make more of this in the future. Now off to the third model. So, how do you make him? Let's give him heavy armor and maybe a chin guard and a helmet. Then let's give him his sword and shield. Now off to the fourth model. This time let's change the colors of the padded armor. Then let's add a cuirass and a helmet. Then let's add the weapon and shield. Okay, for the last model, let's make him with less armor than the rest. Let's give him lighter clothes and lighter armor. Maybe just give him a cap, and maybe let's add in a guard for his chest. Then let's add a sword and shield. Now let's test the last three together. Looks great. Now let's test all the new mercenary guards together. Hope that these design varieties will add more depth to our game. Again, I want our community to be involved in making the game. Let's have fun designing the enemies, so comment down below your thoughts and suggestions. In the next video, we'll do 5 or 6 more models for the torch bearers. See you on the next one.